Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here's what we got today. This steaming pile of poo. It's a weed eater one. It's my sister's mower, and yeah, I've worked on it more than I care to remember. And I mean, just really a piece of garbage. But this is what's going on with it today. The clockwork spring for the pull start has gone out. Now this thing does have a battery and it does have electric start. However, it's very difficult to start. So the other thing we're going to do is see if we can't look up what the valve adjustment is meant to be on it, and check that and get it set, and see if that won't in turn allow the electric start to actually be a useful option, because currently it doesn't work. You can turn the key on, it'll crank, but it really won't start. You have to always get out and use the pull start if you want the thing to operate. So yeah, we're gonna see if we can't get her a little tuned up and running right. All right guys, I got the clockwork spring replaced, so yeah, at least we'll have the option of using a pull start in order to start it in the future. So we at least have that going for us. Now that we've got this clockwork spring replaced, we are going to replace the battery, because I've already pulled the battery, and the battery for this thing is pretty unusual. It's really tiny, and it looks like, you know, a battery for like an emergency exit light or something like that. This is the mounting bracket, and it hooks, and then this bolt screws into the bracket here, and it mounts right underneath the seat. So you can imagine this is the longest side, and the battery overall is about that big, but well, you'll see it when I'm installing it. But we still have that, and then we want to come over here to the valve cover and adjust these valves. I'm just gonna have to find out what the exact specification is for this Briggs motor. I think it's 4,000s on the intake and exhaust manifold, but I'm gonna have to confirm that, and then we'll tuck into this. We'll be back when we get there. All right, we're back guys. This is the battery I was telling you about. It is tiny, and that's what is used for starting this mower, and it mounts, well, right about there under the seat though, under that plastic. So now we're going to try to get that installed, and let's see what kind of luck we have with that. And it had a small piece of foam on top of it, which of course I neglected to keep track of, so now it's gone, but I think we've got something else that'll work just as well. But yeah, it's really fiddly to get this thing in there. And the battery terminals are spade connectors, so if it's not perfectly aligned, all right guys, we got the battery mounted back up there, and that is a 13 millimeter, that center nut there. I'll try to show you where it's mounted, right there between the two rails from the seat. And you just see that it uses those spade flag posts, so they just slip on. So we've got the clock spring fixed, we've gotten the battery reinstalled. The only thing left is to pull this valve cover and adjust the valves. But first we're going to have to look up the spec. But let's see how she does now with the so there you have it. We at least have a working lawnmower. So yeah, she can go back to mowing her grass. but I would still like to see what we can figure out about the valve adjustment on this thing. All right, guys, so here's what we've got. If you're working on a similar mower, right here where it's stamped in the metal OHV, that's your valve cover. There's 4 10mm bolts that hold this on, and you got to pull the spark plug out of the way in order to access all of the screws. The other thing is normally there's a bit of oil inside of these, not much, but you know, do it someplace where when it does drip, it's not going to make you know, a big mess, or you know, where it's not going to, you have something in place to catch that oil. And what we're going to do is literally just stuff a little bit of newspaper on the other side of the tire to catch any, you know, small amount that drips off, and then we're going to get right to adjusting the valves. All right, guys, got the 4 10mm screws out, and now all we got to do is pop this cover off, and there are your valves. And like I told you, there'll be a little bit of oil, and here's how you adjust them with Allen keys and a box end wrench. And you measure the gap and the when the valve is not being compressed. And like I said, it's 4/1000 of an inch for the intake and the exhaust. Actually, I think it's something like you know, 3 to 7, but we're just going to do 4 on both and call that good. All right, guys, here we go. This is you know, our 4/1000 feeler gauge, and this one is like, you know, really loose. And you can, on this engine, because it has a pull start or electric start, you can use either or. You just want to make sure that the you know, valve is not opening while you're measuring it. And I'll give you show you that what that looks like. And basically you want to see, like that one right now is under compression because that valve is opening, and that one is fine. So yeah, that one would be the one we could adjust, but we can manually advance this motor up here using the pull start, and then we'll get this one adjusted because it's definitely out of adjustment. It's way out of adjustment. It's probably like 10/1000ths. All right, that feels like we got it. So now we've got both the valves adjusted to 4/1000 of an inch. All we've got to do is pop this cover back on, and it is ready to get back to work. Don't forget to get your, once you get the valve cover on, don't forget to get your spark plug boot back in place. But that's it, guys. This thing ought to be good to go.